So nice to meet you, and for some of you that I already know, it's good to see you again. I'm not active in eSport actually, so Pete Jenkins asked me to talk about eSports because he knows that I'm having some activities in it, but we are globally a gamification studio based in Belgium, and we do mobile gamified apps for businesses. But that's not the topic of the talk. But yes, we are involved in some kind of corporate esports business with activities I will explain later. Just, I was asked to give you a short overview of the situation of esport today, and I will try to be very to the point, and to separate first the gaming industry itself from the esport industry. We all know that it's not exactly the same, and those figures will show you how the bridge between both of them is still huge. So the gaming industry this year generated, or will generate, more than 160 billion euros, sorry. And the cinema industry that has been outpaced for maybe 7 or 8 years now is only making 1/4 of that. But the esport industry, so the revenues generated by the esport professionals, but also the advertising revenues and revenues from the prize monies, but also the leagues and the streamings, etc., is still at 1.5 billion, which is interesting, but far from the revenues of selling video games in the world. What is interesting also to check is the number of viewers, the casual viewers looking at video games or esports occasionally, and the enthusiasts who are totally addicted to it and watching all the games they can. So we are approaching today the 500 million viewers, and we will be close to 700 million viewers in less than 3 years. That's huge, and this hides a bit the small amount of revenue that you have seen. It's because it's getting structured, and the fast growth of the last 5 years. I should have put the figures of 2015 and 16. You will be very surprised to see how it has boomed, and it was a bit reduced this year because of the COVID, but it's going to be very, very huge. The awareness, so people that are aware or claiming to be aware about the esport, is also growing, even if we are not sure that we're talking about the same thing. When you talk with people that are not gamers or haven't experienced at any time an esport tournament, they think they know esport, but they don't know it at all. Twitch is becoming the second video channel in the world, just after YouTube, and Twitch has a small monopoly on video games for the moment, with more than 90% of the views of esports games on the internet. So what is behind this 1.6 billion? You have different prize monies according to the games. Dota and League of Legends are still very dominating. So this is just the prize money of the official tournaments, but League of Legends is much higher of that in also the local tournaments. But you can see that the games, the MOBA, so the multi-online battle arenas, and the first-person shooters are the kind of games that are generating today the most revenue. A game like FIFA, who is the best seller in the world, is only at the 9th position for the moment. So we always compare gaming with the other entertainment industries, but we should compare it more with sports and the sports revenue. Sports industry, if you take sports as a media or an entertainment industry, is still 3 times bigger than the gaming industry, but it's growing much slower than the gaming industry. So we can expect the gaming industry to reach the level of sports industry in the next years. And that's my point today. I want to emphasize that we are talking about esport and video games as they are today. They will change. I mean, augmented reality, virtual reality, extended reality, what the fuck reality, all those things will change the way we play. And we already see that coming with different types of games, rhythm games, for example, Just Dance, or boxing games. we will soon talk about video games that are also making us do real sports, real physical sports. And that will be the comeback of the gladiators. I mean, today the gladiators are the football players, the basketball players. People want gladiators like in the ancient Rome, and they like the best athletes for their performance. They want to follow the best performance athletes. And today the video game players, they can be fat and not sporty at all. And we have this impression that they are all teenagers and everyone can become an esport champion if he plays all the nights during all his teenager era in his bedroom. It will change. I mean, the words, those two words will mix together. I don't know if you've seen the last season of Black Mirror with this episode, Striking Vipers. It's a world where you can play those kind of Street Fighter games with a mix of reality and games. Okay, we probably have seen that episode. It's a nice one, I guess.
I'm gonna fuck you up.
And maybe you have tried virtual reality games like Creed.
Very defensive, I feel like.
So this is Michaela Mayer. She's a professional boxer and she's testing Creed. And she was quite surprised. It was the first experiment. And she said that there are a lot of things that can be very, very good for training, but it would be also exciting to try a match game with other professional players, because she felt that some elements are very close from a professional boxing. Of course, despite that she can't move the legs, she can run around the opponents like in a real boxing. But once again, we are still at the beginning of something coming. And maybe you know this one.
Welcome to Race in Richmond with GCN and Zwift. We're coming to you live and direct.
We've got around 215 other competitors on the circuit with Simon. It's going to be 2 laps of the course, 10 miles, 16.2 kilometres long, but with 3 significant climbs, 2 of them cobbled.
3, 2, 1, off we go.
Okay, with Zwift, you are totally mixing the biking experience with virtual experience of the game, and you are included in races, leagues, tournaments. So you can play the game, the video game, with your physical skills and trainings. So my question to you guys is that, would you think that people will stay satisfied with non-augmented sports? Will you prefer to watch a classical football game, soccer game, if you have the alternative of seeing the real football players playing, and the display of this game would be augmented with arcade effects, for example? It's clearly coming. I mean, in the next years, I'm pretty convinced that we will see more and more games mixing real sport and video gaming. So when will eSport be bigger than sport? I just took the figures of the growth of the gaming industry and the decrease of the speed of growth of the sport industry. And this is just a scenario, but we could reasonably imagine that gaming industry will be above sport industry in the next 10 years. And maybe when gaming industry will continue booming, with the generation of e-gamers growing up and having children, another boom is to be expected. The eSport boom is yet to come. And one day, maybe the eSport will be above the sport itself. It's not impossible. That's just my point. And the advantage of eSport is that it can be played anywhere at any time. It's costless, and you have all those hybrid situation or augmented situation where eSport can become more addictive than sport. And you probably know that. So how about corporate eSport? And I'm going to be fast on that. So there are so many links that are starting to be seen between eSport and corporate eSport. There are corporate championships, there are marketing investments, there are networking events, and there are contests and games, video games for training and employee empowerment. So about the marketing investments, brands, classical brands, are investing in team, like in the real sports. So if you want to add to make your brand hype today, sometimes it's a good idea to link and connect your brand with a professional esports team. Know that David Beckham just launched his own esports team and wanted to raise 20 million on London Stock Exchange.
Every time I say it, I get kind of nervous. Of course, a very well-off man and a partial co-owner of a brand new, I would say relatively new esports organization, of which he wants to bring to IPO, that being the London Stock Exchange, bring it public.
So you get the idea. So I organize some corporate events with my team. So both internal for companies or external between companies. So there are so many national corporate leagues. This one is in Malaysia. You have one in England, the WFH league. I mean, almost every country now has its own corporate league. So which means esports for companies. Esports for companies to make the employees be able to be motivated to join the company team and battle with other companies. We organized 1 month ago a Gran Turismo game for Daikin. You know Daikin, so Daikin World asked us to make a tournament, and it was an in between during their annual big event for all the subsidiaries of the company, and we organized the semi-finals and the finals between the main presentations of the keynote players, etc. And they loved the activity, and it was excellent to see how the countries were preparing that event. So they trained for 2 weeks before the semi-finals, and we had a lot of interesting sessions with them, and they were very convinced that this was a perfect complementary with the classical way to do their events. We also organize events between companies. So and we use very easy to play games like Street Fighter, Mario Kart, also FIFA. And at the last event we created, we had 600 players and 2,000 visitors, and all those players were employees in companies. I mean, the fees of the tournament were paid by the companies. And I can tell you that the best icebreaker, if you want to do a networking event and meet other people and try to sell contracts, I mean, start with Mario Kart. You'll see how it's easy to break the ice with this kind of approach. And last but not least, and that's my business and what I want to do, we're working on how you can use a corporate esports strategy to boost training and employee empowerment. You can imagine to use the same codes and dynamics than a tournament, survival game, etc. to have the best, I don't know, the best designer, the best programmer, the best, any function can enter into that perspective. And we launched a mobile app called Business Royale. It's a quiz game. So it's supposed to improve the quality of the trainings, because afterwards you can play this quiz game at any time, at any moment. And we have those rankings and tournaments within the game. And the next step will be to exit our clients' own team and quizzes, and to have between companies quizzes challenges. That's what we are launching in January. And you can see also companies like ThyssenKrupp, they have games this is an example of virtual reality, augmented reality application they launched for the maintenance.
Dominique?
Yes?
Dominique, I'm sorry, we're over time, I'm afraid.
That's my last slide, so I'm just
good
on time, or almost on time. Thank you. Sorry if I was trying to 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know 15 minutes can be hard.